Kuzangpo and welcome to this week's edition of Bhutan This Week with me, Sonam Wongdi. This week's top stories. The recent earthquake in Nepal adversely affects the country's airline companies. The local leaders of Pemagasil say people are blaming them after the parliament failed to endorse a Thomde for their Dzongkhag. And the Bhutanese men's national basketball team takes part in the 4th South Asian Basketball Championship. For the people living along the banks of Mochu, it was a moment of panic when the early flood warning siren went off on Sunday. The siren was following the threats of flood due to Lemthangso outburst in Laya. Hundreds of people were evacuated to higher grounds for safety.
Residents living downstream Mochu in Punakha said the siren went off more than 3 times. In panic, some rushed with their belongings to Kurthang town. It was only by 8:30 p.m., 2 hours after the report of outburst, people started to evacuate in masses. Most of them moved to Alakha, about 3 kilometers from Kurthang town towards Talo, where they stayed till late night.
Signal Geneva la flat on the flat on this and with a safety in the Junivina.
The channel Chelsea call and Saturn say and many
The director of the Department of Disaster Management, Chadar Wandi, said, with 3 early warning centers set up along the river bank, evacuation of those at risk could be carried out at the earliest.
Some people say that it might have been caused due to the earthquake in the morning. I think it's not true. Now the outbursts of the lake, now it's been found that the lake is empty. There's no water there. And then luckily, I think there have been no casualties for both human and animal so far. However, I think the report says that there have been damages caused to 6 bridges which are used by people trekking up and down. So this report we have got so far. Now,
he added that with the onset of monsoon, the department will be collaborating with the Department of Hydromet Services to monitor such events. Meanwhile, Home Minister Damchu Dorji shared on social media that the debris from yesterday's flood has cut off Laya from Gasa at Tongju. With few bridges washed away, Cordyceps collectors spread over the mountains in different directions are stranded on either side of Mochu between Laya and Lingji. With additional reporting from Chonidema in Punakha, Sringdama Galson for BBS News.
Upon the Royal Command, a team of 23 Army left Kasa on Wednesday for various locations in Laya to rebuild the bridges that were washed away by Lemthangso outburst in Laya on Sunday evening. A total of 6 wooden bridges were washed away, cutting off Laya from the rest of the Dzongkhag. Mochutazam, which is 3 hours away from Laya towards Kasa, and the Lemthangzam near the lake were also washed away. Kasa Zongda Dojitarul said, though the bridges were small, it is vital in connecting Laya with the rest of the Dzongkhag, and in absence of a bridge, no one could travel to and from Laya. The recent earthquake in Nepal has adversely affected the airline companies in the country. While Bhutan Airlines has temporarily suspended their scheduled flights to Kathmandu, the national airlines, Rugair, has reduced their flight frequency to the destination.
Ugyen Tenzin, the general manager of Bhutan Airlines commercial division, said since the earthquake, the airline company saw no passengers flying to Nepal. He said being a private company, they cannot afford to send empty flights to Nepal as it has negative financial implications. Both their aircrafts are on lease.
B3 services to Kathmandu has been suspended, and for instance, like in the month of May, we had like 3,000 confirmed passengers cancel their flights, and there was no load. We have like 2 aircrafts at the moment, and 1 aircraft is basically sitting there.
The company, however, plans to resume its scheduled flights once the traffic load picks up. On the other hand, instead of the Airbus, Drukier is using ATR, the smaller aircraft, to fly passengers to Nepal. They have also reduced the frequency of flight from 36 to 20 times in a month.
Drukier, as the national flag carrier of the country, besides making profit, we also have a social mandate to fulfill, and that social mandate is to provide safe, reliable, affordable and efficient air connectivity to the people of Bhutan as well as to those people who are visiting Bhutan. Drukier is a schedule operator, and being a schedule operator, it is important that we maintain the schedule integrity. That is very important in an aviation business. ATR, the aircrafts are far more economical in terms of operational costs as compared to the Airbus. I take comfort in the fact that we are definitely meeting the direct operating cost.
As of now, for every flight to Nepal, on an average, Drukier receives about 15 to 20 passengers only. Compiled for Kunsang Tenzin, Dikilhamo, BBS News.
The nationwide checking conducted by the Economic Affairs Ministry recently revealed that 80% of bars and dinings in the country are in violation with the rules. While some were found operating without licenses, many were doing business on hired or bought licenses. Of 43 dinings in the country, 21 were found to be operating with leased licenses and 9 without any. The nationwide inspection also uncovered 1 discotheque operating without a license. 9 others were being run on lease. There are a total of 25 discotheques in the country today. The Economic Affairs Ministry said the violators will be penalized according to the rule. The penalty ranges from cancellation of the license to imposing of fines. Amochu River in Finzoling broke its bank and washed away makeshift huts and damaged a few machines and properties on Wednesday morning. Continuous rainfall in the past few days had fed Amochu, causing it to swell and flood. This was the scene following the flood in the morning. People searching through what was left of the belongings. The flood washed away 7 makeshift huts, of which 5 were shops.
We did not know what to do. We took out some of our belongings and left it in the workshop. Half of our belongings were taken by the river. The things which were left were all crushed when the house collapsed.
My brother in Doroka called me at around 2:30 in the morning, after which I called my wife. She then woke everyone up, and then people managed to save themselves and a few belongings.
I had a small shop here. When I reached at 7:30 in the morning, it was all gone.
Some people said the affected people could have been able to save their belongings had timely help come their way.
I think it is very important for either the army or DSUPs to help, because some people have lost everything, while some have their belongings out in the open. It can even be robbed.
However, the occupants of the huts did not receive any help from the authorities as they were occupying government's land. The river also submerged an excavator and claimed 2 other machines. Meanwhile, a boy was rescued using an excavator after he was stranded in the middle of the flood. By early afternoon, though the water level had receded, people say the situation could worsen if it rains in the coming days. Locals living nearby Amochu feel that the authorities need to do something on the safety. An official from Thomde said there is nothing they can do for now. He said there are safety plans, but it is only on paper. For Tenzirabke in Finsoling, Sonomongdi, PBS News. A landslide in Tongsa damaged 2 huts last Friday. The landslide, triggered by continuous rain in the earlier days, occurred at Laoshong, a few hundred meters away from Tongsa town towards Thimphu. The 3 occupants escaped unhurt. While one of the occupants could retrieve most of the belongings, the others lost it all. On behalf of His Majesty the King, the Kido office in Tongsa handed 10,000 ngitam each to the affected. The rainfall has also damaged over 20-meter stretch of Tongsa-Shemgang Highway. Department of Roads Chief Engineer Tauge Cherup said it could take several weeks to repair the road. He said because of the damage, heavy vehicles feeding construction materials cannot ply. About 10 meters of Tripang Palace's boundary wall has also been damaged. The local leaders of Pema Gazelle say people are now blaming them after the parliament failed to endorse a Thomde for the Zongkak. Pema Gazelle was the only Zongkak that failed to get a Thomde of the 16 proposed in the last parliament.
The decision came despite an endorsement from the Zongkak Sogdu to establish Nganglam as the Zongkak Thomde. However, before the Zongkak Sogdu decided that the Thomde should be in Nganglam, locals were divided. Some wanted it in Denchi, while some said it should be established in Nganglam.
Benjoro konfe tane gi sako ben yezun bedo yobe shachulung balu niyo chi nganglam chi kanglung te tebe ra zonga thomne fa tele industry fa zoda chuga fa diginal benjoro konfe gi thomne yezun fa bega sako fa yezun bega la te chanyan bega la yal lime bode te yalwe ati zonga thomne bega la te chi misigi nosam tang de imbe te ngare khatalo te hema juzum tamado meis juni anibe gabdu slapchi ta cherara chage.
Even after extensive deliberation in the parliament and consultations, the opinions still remained divided. Those residing in Denchi still want the Thomde to be in Denchi, and those in Nganglam say Nganglam should be the Zongkak Thomde.
Thomya Denchilu te chaju tubdigibe te malu Thomsa disya gara Gotameta to be Ganga Yu Sishinin, Thomsadisia, the Jedigibe, the Lohalam Chiasi Sishinin, the Bindigi, the Dinchilura, the Chaprachi Boachin, the Tom de Tewa di Mitaga, Sivigi, the
The issue will resurface in winter session of the parliament. Compiled for Choni Jamso and Sonam Penjo, Tanden Finso for BBS News.
Over 200 acres of paddy field belonging to 50 households under Thongmang Chiok in Dagana have been left fallow for the last 4 years. The irrigation channel was damaged by the construction of a tower for the Punasangchu 1.
Paddy transplantation has begun in many parts of the country, but the paddy fields in Thomgang Chiok of Kebisagyuk in Dagana remains dry and unprepared. 24-year-old Tamchen owns over 2 acres of paddy field, but he has not been able to grow anything for 4 long years.
Before we used to have good irrigation channel, but after the tower construction, they damaged our irrigation channel. Yes, they made a drain along the feeder road, but of no use. Our irrigation channel was from top and the water could feed at least 4 acres of our paddy fields.
The irrigation channel, which was sufficient to irrigate about 200 acres of paddy field, was damaged by the construction of a feeder road, which leads to the construction of the tower of the Punasangchu Hydropower Project Authority Phase 1. Many villagers say that it was selfish act from the project, damaging their land and irrigation channel.
This used to be the water reservoir where the water is equally divided among the upper and the lower fields. The feeder route has damaged our irrigation channel and it's been more than 4 years. So from last year, I have planted mango trees in 60 decimal land and 100 decimal land for maize.
The Gyo did not support us in any way. If the Gyo could provide us with pipe and cement, villagers are ready to provide labor.
I wish if government should do something on it. If the project is done, then it will benefit to the villagers of two Chiwoks. We have enough water in our Gyok, and if it's done, then it will benefit the farmers in both dry and wet seasons.
After walking for more than 1 hour, finally we are here at the water source. And by looking at this water source, they have plenty of water here. This stream can feed not only 200 acres of paddy field down below, but also even more.
Meanwhile, the contractor of the tower construction said that he had carried out the works in consultation with the Gyok authorities. Local leaders of Kebisa Gyok are aware of the issue, and the matter was also submitted to the Dzongkhag administration. The GUP said that the Gyok was not able to construct a new irrigation channel due to budget shortage. The Gyok has also submitted proposal seeking for budget from the Ministry of Agriculture and Forests. Ishingidup, PBS News.
Starting this month, with the domestic power tariff revised, small and large consumers will experience an increase in their electricity bills. For households, electricity bills could increase by 100 to 400 ngitam a month.
For low-voltage consumers, electricity rates are charged according to the amount of energy a household consumes. For example, for 100 units of electricity consumed, a household is charged Nyultram 1.12 a unit. By next month, it will be revised to Nyultram 1.28 a unit. An average urban household using basic electrical appliances like heater, geyser, electric cookers, boilers, refrigerator and television consumes around 1023 units of electricity during winter and 543 units during summer. According to a calculation by a private research firm, in winter, a household pays an average Nyultram 2,576 as electricity bill. After the revision, the bill will increase by Nyultram 376 a month for the consumption of same amount of energy. However, in summer, he would have to pay Nyultram 179 extra since electricity consumed will be less. Energy consumption in most parts of Bhutan is higher in winter than in summer, since people use heater and geyser which consume more energy in winter. Urban areas like Thimphu consume roughly 45 megawatt of electricity during winter, which can light up 450,000 light bulbs. Including industries and households, there are more than 163,000 electricity consumers in the country today. Nirup Gelsen for BBS News.
Thimphu Thomde has almost completed the new sanitary landfill next to the old one in Memelakha landfill site. Sanitary landfills are sites where waste is isolated from the environment until it is safe. This new sanitary landfill is to prevent the accumulation of methane and the leachate problem.
Once the waste is out of the homes, people never think about what happens next. But the journey for the waste continues. The problem starts once the waste starts to mount. In the past, the leachate from the landfill site at Memelaga overflows, especially during monsoon. Leachate is the liquid produced by waste. It is said to be poisonous as it contains toxic chemicals and can also contaminate the groundwater and rivers. At the moment, this is where the leachate is collected, but officials said the toxic level is not high. But the new sanitary landfill, which is almost complete, will address these problems at least for the next 3 years.
We have constructed a gavin wall in the south slope to protect the landslide and the waste sliding from the uphill. And also we have constructed 2 concrete tanks to control the leachate. And subsequently we also had one mud pond where we can collect the leachate. So with these 3 leachate ponds, normally by this time we used to have a leachate overflowing over the road, but this year we are happy to say that we have controlled that leachate.
The new sanitary landfill has provision to store leachate and pipes to collect the methane. It is being constructed at a cost of over 4 million Newton, with Japan Environment Sanitation Center under JICA contributing 3.8 million Newton. The new landfill will be ready for use by August this year. Tringdema Galson for BBS News.
The Bhutanese men's national basketball team will take part in the 4th South Asian Basketball Championship. The championship will be held in Bengaluru, India from 3rd till 5th of July.
The players spend 2 hours each in the morning and evening every day, practicing new offensive and defensive moves. This routine has been going on for the past 4 months. The team's head coach, Tenzin Jamso, said, with additional coaches assisting in different fields, this is the best team the Federation has prepared so far.
I'm expecting a lot this year because, like I said, working out with 4 coaches, I'm sure there will be a better result. We are in a better position this time when we go to the Sabah Basketball Championship.
In April this year, the team had also gone for practice matches in the Philippines.
I wouldn't say we're going to win it all, that we're just over-ambitious. But we definitely have a hope of, maybe getting Bhutan's first win. And we also, as players, our team is down because we had some injuries. So hopefully they'll feel better or heal in the coming days during the tournament.
Including Bhutan, 5 other countries, India, Bangladesh, the Maldives, Nepal and Sri Lanka, will take part in the championship. The winning team will qualify for the 28th International Basketball Federation Asian Championship to be held in China this September. The national team will leave for the championship on Thursday. Karmatsring for BBS News.
Well, that is all we have for you this time. Do join us again next week. Until then, have a great weekend.